And the biggest thing that I see over and over again is when you meet someone that is, I guess I would say, chronically online,
Mm-hmm.
is a new term that's popped up recently, just something that's always on the internet. They clearly do not understand the way they're perceived in real life.
Yeah.
Like, they'll come up to you super confident, super like, hey man, what's up, dude? Hey, dude, what's up? And it's like, like, you are not that guy, man.
Yeah.
You are just, or like people that think they're really tough, but they've never done anything tough ever.
Yeah.
Or people that think they are really cool because they have a lot of friends on Discord. It's like, wow, you are so disconnected
Yeah.
from real life and real events and things that are actually going on.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of the Refine Improvement Podcast. Today, we'll be talking about community, both in-person and online communities. Are online communities real? How do they attribute to both the in-person community and your total well-being in terms of self-improvement? So to start out, I have a question for you. What are examples of communities that you see in your daily life?
So, some communities that I see in my daily life, the biggest one is probably the gym. Specifically the gym near our high school.
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot of the people there. I play basketball with a lot of the people there. I work out with a lot of the people there. I've met friends through that gym.
Yeah.
And I think, in terms of self-improvement, it's a really positive place.
Mm-hmm.
When you go to a space that you're going to work and you don't really know anybody, it kind of feels, why am I working? What am I doing here? But if I know that my friend's watching me, it's like, oh, I've got to do good on this set. Got to do well.
Exactly.
Another big community, I'll probably just start with these two. We can talk about other ones in the future. Is just by far the biggest community in both of our lives, our school community.
Mm-hmm.
Our friends at school that we choose, our friends in school through classes, even the teachers to some extent. All of that is what gives our life structure.
Yeah.
You know, you wake up at this time, you work this time, you go to sleep this time, you do homework this time. That's what makes our life make sense right now. So those are some big communities in my life.
Yeah, no, that's great. So, yeah, I mean, those are like examples of, for people our age, communities. So I'll just throw out a couple more. You know, for a lot of adults, especially the ones working in corporate jobs, you have your work community, right? So that includes your colleagues, your boss's boss, and, you know, that entire sphere right there. And then I also see this a lot with adults. It's kind of like your personal friend community. So these are people outside of your job that you interact with, you know, when you're off work, when you're, you know, hanging out, when you want to call someone, you know, to go somewhere with, right? So those are like two circles that are really common, especially with guys. Like I see like a group of guys, especially like at later college, like right into corporate, like they'll always have like this kind of like maybe 5 to 10 guys, a group, and that's their community, that's their social circle, right? So the big thing is, how does community in general affect both your ability to, you know, do self-improvement, right? And then also your overall well-being. How does it affect you as a person, and how should you react to that?
So these are really, really important questions. And I can't say that I know exactly the degree that community affects people, but I can say that there is definitely a correlation between having more friends, having a bigger community, and being a happier, healthier, more productive person. And unfortunately right now, we're in somewhat of a loneliness epidemic, especially for men. I remember there was a study done a few years ago that said that 1 in 5 men admitted, keyword being admitted, to having no close friends at all.
Yeah.
And there's so many of these loner guys who use copes like online communities, movies, actual drugs to escape the fact that they have no friends.
Mm-hmm.
And as much as having no friends is like a joke or something to be made fun of on the internet, it's a really, really serious thing, because if you have no friends, and especially if you're not really seeing your family much anymore, why are you living, really, is what it feels like, because you don't have anybody to impress, you don't have any family to provide for, and you don't have any friends, just normal people, to hang out with and spend time with.
Yeah.
And it's really terrible. I think that these stats for high schoolers who have ever dated dropped from about 70% to 30% a few years ago. And that's another impact of a lack of community, because most people meet through dating apps now because they do not have a community of friends to kind of hook each other up with, right?
Yeah.
Like, it used to be that I knew you and you knew all these people and everyone hung out and things naturally happened.
Yeah.
But as more and more time goes on, everything is reliant on social media and online. Friends, girlfriends, work, working from home, all that type of stuff. And it just pushes everyone apart, makes everyone more sad.
Yeah, for sure. And one good point you made there is online communities. So I think it's no kind of understatement to say that a lot of these are really weird communities, right? So I think the big ones you can think of things like Discord and Reddit, and we're on the internet here. There's no introduction to them. They're both, kind of really weird, like cesspools of kind of like degeneracy, and they do kind of go against the flow of like self-improvement, because they're not the greatest places. So how do you think being on these kind of like, being on Reddit all the time or being on Discord all the time, talking with like people who aren't real, how do you think that affects people trying to get into like in real life communities, or how they kind of like correspond?
So the answer that I want to give you is get off of these things entirely, including Instagram, because most of it's fake, most of it's bad for your mental health. Unfortunately, a lot of it is necessary. I think that a lot of the hate against Snapchat and Insta is justified, but you also have to kind of analytically look at it and be like, who do you know in our school that has a big social group that doesn't have Instagram?
Yeah.
No one. Who do you know that has a big social group that doesn't have Snapchat? Nobody. Like me personally, I don't have Instagram and I don't have Snapchat.
Yeah.
Because I don't think that I want to deal with all the problems that come with those things. And I have a very good amount of friends and I've had relationships, this type of stuff. But it's different for me because I don't have the same connections that everybody else does.
Yeah.
That being said, there are some platforms, like you were talking about Discord and Reddit. There's really no need to be on those, especially things like Discord. Me personally, I used to be in a Smash Bros. Online Discord. A lot of them, I was in a worldwide team. I was ranked. And I put in endless hours, and I met all these people, and I did all this networking, and I did all this work, and it took me like 2 years, and I reached the top 25 worldwide team, and in the moment it felt great. But then once I got on self-improvement, and I started thinking about my life, what I want to do, what this gives me, I just sat back and I was like, oh my gosh, I just spent realistically more than 2 years, because of all the stuff building up to that, but I just spent all of these years of my life working towards something, networking, meeting people, feeling wins, feeling losses, for something that gave me no money, no in real person friends, no relationships, nothing. It's just it's a net zero, if not a net negative, because it's wasting all of my time. Like I spent easily more than 2,000 hours on video games, and it's just like, imagine I put 2,000 hours into going to the gym from the ages of 13 to 15. It's like, my whole life would have been way different.
No, yeah, for sure. Yeah, I agree with that. And I guess one important thing we have to think of here is that online communities are, when they're strangers, it's not a real connection. Like, you're not going to have that same connection you're going to have with, like, talking to someone in person. But here's another question. I have Discord for the sole purpose that I communicate with my in-person friends through Discord. It's a versatile platform, We want to pull someone into the group, we invite them to the server, and then boom, it's true. Everyone from our school in one server. We do things from discussing like what's happening in the school to discussing classes and homework, and I think that it is helpful in some situations. So what do you think about using things like Discord? I would argue that Reddit isn't part of this, but Discord, chat services like that, for a group of in-person friends where you are meeting regularly in real life, and then also you have that connection where you're talking on Discord.
I would say that is comparable to using Snapchat or Instagram to build a friend group. I think that there's nothing necessarily wrong with that, but you do have to be careful of saying, oh, well, I have it for my friends and I have it for this video game server thing, and getting lost in what Discord or any type of social media is for. There's this great quote from the streamer Destiny where he says that social media was originally used to replicate real life, but at some point social media became the substitute for real life. And that is the line that everybody, you, me, people on self-improvement, or just normal people, should become really careful about crossing.
You know, for sure. And I think that's a great quote. It really reflects on what's happening, you know, with especially like this metaverse stuff that we saw a while ago in like the big crypto boom. Like it's like they're trying to like completely create like a simulated real life, and it's not just replication anymore. It's almost like they want people to get stuck in it, and that's critical, especially if we look into how it's impacting our interpersonal relations. And the reason I bring this up is that you know, everyone's heard of TikTok. Everyone's heard of why it's bad. You know, it's been on the news lately. I think one critical thing that people are missing, though, is that TikTok is shortening attention spans.
Well, any platform like TikTok or YouTube or other worse things is going to reduce the gray matter in your brain, which doesn't directly reduce attention spans, but it short circuits how long you are willing to work towards something to get a reward. When you have less gray matter, that's what happens. So it isn't like you can't watch a long video if it's an interesting one, but it's like when you sit down to do your homework, you're just gonna say, I can't, I give up.
That's true. But I feel like in YouTube, you know, you have like, I feel like shorts is a bad thing now, but it's a very recent thing. It came out because of TikTok and the popularity of it. But before that, YouTube was just like, you didn't see a lot of short form. Everything was like, you know, long content or cultured content that kind of created like, you know, a lot of information, right? So for example, my feed, a lot of things about engineering, mathematics, right? And they're long videos. Like I don't think I see videos on there that are like less than 10 minutes, because that's the content that's really apparent on YouTube. That's the kind of content that a lot of people use YouTube for, right? Especially the education stuff. So like not even it's like mathematics and stuff like that. Like we have videos just about like general like cool science topics, but again they're longer videos, right? And we are diverging from the main topic at hand here of community. But so back to what I was saying. Things like TikTok, like it's like within like in real life communities now, people are like, you don't have TikTok, you should get TikTok, and they're like forcing kind of this.
They do.
And it doesn't. In my opinion, things like Instagram or Snapchat, they're used for communicating, right? So it's more like, oh yeah, this is directly used to communicate, you know, whatever we want to talk about on this platform. Things like TikTok, it doesn't directly impact that. It's more like, you know, oh yeah, here's this funny video I'm going to send to you, and it's a spiral of just like sending videos. There's no actual communication going on. And I think that's actually beyond like, you know, the negative impacts to, you know, your mental state and your mental stability. It's also impacting communications between people, right? It's lessening how we communicate. And I feel like we can say this about, you know, any social media, but I think TikTok is making it really apparent. You especially like, you have things like text message and Discord where you're actually writing out full-length messages, right? And then you have TikTok where you're sending videos back and forth to each other. There's no actual talking going on. So I see that as kind of a negative to communications between communities.
Yeah, I agree. And I want to switch the conversation topic a little bit, because I think we've kind of gone over why this stuff is bad for you in the sense that it's bad for your mental health. I want to talk about how this translates into in real life situations. And the biggest thing that I see over and over again is when you meet someone that is, I guess I would say, chronically online, is a new term that's popped up recently, just something that's always on the internet. They clearly do not understand the way they're perceived in real life.
Yeah.
Like they'll come up to you super confident, super like, hey man, what's up dude? Hey dude, what's up? And it's like, like you are not that guy, man.
Yeah.
You are just or like people that think they're really tough but they've never done anything tough ever,
Yeah.
or people that think they are really cool because they have a lot of friends on Discord. It's like, wow, you are so disconnected
Yeah.
from real life and real events and things that are actually going on. And it also trickles into the people's worldview. Like, I think there's a lot of people on the internet that think that talking to someone on Discord is just as good, if not better, as talking to someone in real life. Or like driving a car in a video game is just as good as like driving a car in real life. And it's like, you clearly
Yeah.
you like, as cliche as it is to say touch grass, there's a lot of truth.
Yeah.
There's a lot of truth in that, because when you're on the internet, everything isn't real. Like, people lose sight of this, but when you're on the internet, everything's just a photo, right? You're just seeing a photo of a dude, you're seeing a photo of a car, you're just seeing photos. If you were to see that dude or that car or whatever it is in real life, your response would be totally different.
Exactly.
Like, have you ever seen the Grand Canyon, like a photo of it?
Yeah, and then I've seen the actual Grand Canyon.
Me too. And it's like, oh my gosh, it's massive.
Yeah.
And your mind is blown, and it's a life-changing moment. But you can't get that type of emotional experience on the internet.
Like, I'll see a cool car online, I'll be like, oh my god, it's so cool, I'll show it to everyone around me, right? And then I'll see a really cool car, like maybe the same car in real life, and I'll be like, oh my god, that's so cool. Like, I'll go running around it, I'll be taking photos, I'll do whatever, and I'll like talk to the owner. Like, it's completely different, because like online you're limited to the fact that it's one picture and it's not your actual experience, it's the photographed experience of someone else that they're posting on the internet. And I feel like this also relates to kind of, when you look at a picture on the internet, it's not real. It's like,
it's perfect. Yeah, exactly. Filters, all that type of stuff. And to tie back to community, people. So we just discussed online, all this stuff. Community's going down, especially for guys, because guys are not as sought after. They don't have the same kind of social value. Guys are having a lot of issues finding community, and then they will go onto these apps like Instagram or Snapchat, and they will see people claiming to have the perfect community, the perfect life. Because nobody is going to post them sitting alone at home, sad. It's going to be like, oh my gosh, I went to this party with all my friends, and it's great, and I'm always hanging out with people, and they make it look like they got the perfect life, which is going to make you feel even worse. It's like a downward spiral of using social media, of, getting less friends, and then you see people with more friends, makes you feel bad, which makes you feel awkward, which makes you get less friends,
exactly, and it's a spiral. And then there's also like, I would say that I've seen a bit of content where it's like, a solo person, like, they're like sitting home alone, but then it's like, oh yeah, I've been grinding for the past like 10 years, and now I have a Lamborghini, and then pants like a Lamborghini outside their giant mansion, them holding a stack of money. So it's like,
there's no in between.
There's no in between. It's either perfect life, perfect friends, perfect community, or like, oh yeah, I have like a ton of money, and look at my car, look at my house, look at my life. It's great, even if they're not in community, right? So there's no in between that.
And ultimately, this is self-improvement. This is self-improvement channel.
Yeah.
We're all about becoming the best version of yourself. And I'm not here to put a limit on anyone, but your goal should not be to earn 30 supercars. Your goal should be to earn a great car, to earn a car that you are really happy with. Like me personally, someday, if I could get maybe like a Dodge Challenger, Scat Pack, but realistically a Hellcat, that would just make my life, I would be so happy. And that's like, I would get a used one, and that might be like an 80K to 100K car, depending on where I get it, and then maybe I'll mod it up. That is a lot of money. That's a crazy amount of money.
Especially for a car.
I don't ever plan on spending that amount of money until I'm into my 30s. But you will go online and you will see people at 25 with Lamborghinis.
Like four
of them. $1 million worth in cars. And they're like, oh, all I did was work hard. And you have to be realistic with yourself. As someone on self-improvement, like I said, I'm not here to set boundaries. But don't beat yourself up if you don't have like 4 Lambos by the age of 23. That's just, not everybody can do that. Not everyone gets lucky.
A lot of one important thing for self-improvement is time, and then a lot of those people who are like rich at 23 they got lucky, right? Because especially with like, you know, they probably got a lot of money off of a side hustle. They got lucky. It hit off. It hit off very fast, very instantly, right? So that's the big thing there. Like your goal should be to improve yourself, but overall, like you gotta look beyond like, you know, making like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get like a mansion by the time I'm like 20. It's not realistic. You gotta be realistic with your goals, and if you get it earlier, it's a bonus. It's part of the process.
And very importantly, with everything, with your goals, with community, you need to have a plan.
Mm-hmm.
The difference between someone who sits there and says, I'm going to do good, and the person who actually does good is that they have a plan.
Exactly.
For example, and anyone can feel free to try this at home, when I had worked for a while and I said, okay, I want to have more friends, I came up with a plan. And you know what that plan was? That plan was in class, look out for people that I thought were really chill people, and then just go talk to them.
Yeah.
I also joined more clubs intentionally to meet new people and network. And it worked. It worked. I got way more people talking to me. I met you.
Yeah.
And we got closer
Mm-hmm.
while I was doing that. Because I was just saying, okay, look, I have these resources. I do these things. I'm this person. Let me look for other like-minded people.
Yeah.
And then just instantly stuff happened. Even now, with all the stuff that we're working on, it isn't like, oh, it just magically appeared. It's like we've been working.
We planned and we worked towards it. So.
And we're always open to the possibility of it happening. So, of course, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
And people on the internet will sit there and go, oh, I have no friends. I have no friends. Oh, I can't get a girlfriend. And it's because you weren't taking any steps to. And if you are and it's not happening, it's because you simply have not worked enough. You simply have not put in enough time. Or if you have worked maybe for like 5 years or something crazy like that, and you're still seeing no results in anywhere, then you just need to look at your plan and change it. Like it's a simple process.
Yeah.